Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? We have a breaking news story here that I want to get into. I'm actually going to start a little bit sooner than I normally would because I got a lot of stuff that I want to get through here. But just make sure you guys catch up to the live, and we're going to go live in the next, let me say, in the next 30 seconds to a 1 minute. So let me say in the next 1 minute or so. Let me just prepare my notes for you guys here because I actually have a lot of things that I'm going to cover in this story here, and then we're going to get into it. Let me get my notes ready. Okay. Okay, I think I have everything. Okay, so let's get into it. Good evening. Good evening. How's everyone? Phyllis Brown, good to see you, man. Good to see you. They should all resign. Yeah, it's a mess, guys. It's a big mess. It's a very big mess, and something has to be done at this point. Something has to be done because it's an absolute mess. Western Australia, sub Charles, Charles from Many, Manhattan. Okay, Manhattan. Welcome in from Manhattan. Okay, so let me get into this. As people come in, they'll catch up to the live. So anyway, we have a bunch of breaking stories here that I want to get into. First of all, but we have a bunch of different reports that I want to get into. But I want to get into the first one here that we got from Axios.com. And it has to do with Democratic leaders pushing now for Kristi Noem, who has been doing a horrendous job as the head of the DHS, to either resign or they're going to forcefully impeach her. Okay, but before we even get into this article, I want to play her comments that she made initially after Preddy was killed, because this is where all of this really stems from. Because not long after this guy was gunned down by these ICE agents for reasons that to this day many of us cannot understand or rationale, she immediately stepped up to the lectern and was lying through her teeth. And the video I want to show you is of that initial press conference. And this video that we're about to play actually ended up getting 50,000 comments. When was the last time you saw any video of anything get 50,000 comments? Let me play the video for you guys here, now. I want you guys to listen to it because almost every single thing that comes out of this woman's mouth is a lie. Let me play it for you now.
This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
You just made claims that the individual posed a threat to law enforcement.
That is no claim. It is the facts. The facts of this situation. This individual showed up to a law enforcement operation with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition. He wasn't there to peacefully protest. He was there to perpetuate violence. And he was asked to show up and to continue to resist by a governor who's irresponsible and has a long history of corruption and lying.
The White House has labeled the man who was killed in Minnesota as a domestic terrorist. Is that something you agree with? And have you seen any evidence to
when
back
you
up that
perpetuate
claim?
Violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts. We are focused specifically on child pedophiles and sexual assault and trafficking rings in Minneapolis, have brought dozens and dozens of them to justice. Why is he protecting them and refusing to work with us? This individual impeded the law enforcement officers and attacked them. State the facts as they unfolded on the street today. We were doing a targeted operation against an illegal criminal, and this individual came with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition and attacked them. And these agents took action to defend their lives and to defend the lives of the people around them and acted according to their training. And we will continue to let this process go forward and not allow people like Governor Walz and Mayor Frey to lie about what actually unfolded on that street. It appears that they want this lawlessness to continue. It appears that they want chaos.
Okay, so those were Kristi Noem's original comments. This was just after this killing had gone down. that this guy, Alex Preddy, who's now deceased, went there brandishing a weapon, and he was there to do harm. I guess a cell phone now can now be considered a weapon. After we got the video footage and multiple videos showing that the guy was recording the entire altercation, which, by the way, is legal. It's legal, but it doesn't stop there. So I want to get to these articles here. We have a lot that I want to read. The first one here is from what's the website? Yeah, this is from Axios. This is where you have Democratic leaders pushing for Kristi Noem to be impeached. I want to let me pin it in the comment in the comments in case you guys want to read it a little bit later. Maybe you guys may want to or not, but I'll just read it for you. Kristi Noem has to go. Massachusetts governor says after Minneapolis shooting. Massachusetts Governor Mauree Haley on Monday called on the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign in the wake of Border Patrol agents killing a man in Minneapolis. It then continues on. Harley joins a growing chorus of Democrats calling for Noem to be held accountable in the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy on Saturday. DHS said Preddy was armed and resisted agents' attempts to disarm him. That's a bloody lie. Video doesn't appear to show Preddy, a lawful gun owner, reaching for his weapon, Axios Twin reported. Noem later called Preddy's actions domestic terrorism. It then continues on. She blasted the federal government for its characterization of Preddy and ICU nurse for the Minneapolis VA after his death. He is the second person shot dead this month by federal agents in Minneapolis. So that's the first report there. Right, that's the first report. I was just watching the video before we went live, a feed from a Brian Tyler Cohen show where he had a lawmaker up there talking about they're actually drafting articles to impeach her immediately if she doesn't resign because of her flagrant incompetence. So you have this situation in Minneapolis where now the government knows, or rather the administration knows, that all of their lies are falling apart. They know that now. Even Trump, President Trump, by the way, who is known to never apologize for anything, even he is beginning to make soft concessions by removing Greg Bombino and bringing in Tom Harmon, who's the border czar. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Greg Bombino and some of those videos with him walking around with those green jackets. Am I the only one? Am I the only one that was a little bit concerned looking at Greg with those jackets? Didn't he look a lot like, I'm not going to say their names. But when I looked at that guy marching through the streets with those mass militia members with him surrounding him, that was very reminiscent of what we saw in Germany. That's how he was dressed. I'm not going to outright accuse him of that, but certainly that's what he looked like. So Trump is pulling him out. Then we have the next bit of information here, which is the polling. And I want to get to this one because it's very, very important. So we have a YouGov, a YouGov.com article here when we're talking about what Americans feel about ICE. And I think this is really important. So I want to read a little bit of it. It says, after federal immigration agents on Saturday shot and killed Minneapolis resident for the second time this month, more Americans now say they would support abolishing U.S. immigration and customs enforcement than say they would oppose eliminating the agency. A majority of Americans say ICE tactics are too forceful, and about half say they strongly disapprove of the way the agency is handling its job, according to a YouGov poll conducted hours after the shooting. More Americans approve than disapprove of the process of ICE. And then it goes down to talk about how do they, the various groups. Democrats, 76% of them are in opposition. 47% of independents are in opposition. Meanwhile, only 19% of Republicans are in opposition. Now, a majority of Americans, 57%, somewhat or strongly disapprove of the way ICE is handling its job. Only 37 approve. Among Americans who have strong opinions about ICE, the divide is even starker. About half, or rather 48% of Americans strongly disapprove, twice as many as the share who strongly approve, about one quarter. So what do you guys think about this? And I have had some falling outs with people ever since I started this channel. People that used to follow Dreamers Pro, when they started hearing my political views, we began to kind of banter back and forth. At first, it started off as banter. People started arguing with me. Hey, man, why do you have these views? And I just realized, and I said to myself, I said, look, me taking these positions that I'm taking, I feel that it's important that I express my real views about these issues. I feel like I'm on the right side of history. And I think that these guys are ruining the United States. They are ruining the United States. Just last year, we had over 150,000 Americans. 150,000 moved to Canada. We had tens of thousands moving to Japan. Americans are actually leaving the country because they feel unsafe. Even me that was planning to bring my family back, I was actually planning to move to Texas at the end of this year. And I told my wife, I said, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. I refuse to be in a place where you have ICE agents walking around. They don't have badge numbers. You can't see who they are. And they can just stop you indiscriminately and start asking you to prove if you're an American. This is crazy. This is crazy. And then the federal government has given them immunity. Why? Why? Why would you give them immunity? Which basically says that they can go out there and do anything that they want, and they can pretty much get away with it. And what you're witnessing now from Trump is this, because Trump is going to chicken out. They're going to pull out. They're going to pull out of Minneapolis. They're going to pull out. We're hearing they're going to be out of there by next week. Yes. Okay, I think he's talking about somebody else. He says, you're on point. Kobe was a Trump supporter. I don't know if no, I don't remember Kobe Bryant being a Trump supporter. No, he wasn't. Kobe Bryant, the last time I heard him talk about the president was when they asked him, if you felt strongly about not going to the White House to meet a president that you didn't feel like supporting, would you go? And Kobe said, I would not go. Those were his comments. Kobe said he would not go. He said, this story is now international. People don't want to visit the U.S. anymore. We are going to lose financially on. We're going to lose? The States is already losing. We saw a record drop in tourism last year. Forget about we're going to lose. America's already losing out. The rest of the world are sitting back in shock and awe, looking at America saying, what has happened? What has happened? And all of the people that thought, Kamala was incompetent, Kamala was in this, Kamala was in that. I don't think any one of those people that thought that Kamala Harris was unqualified, she wasn't smart. I don't think any of you can say with a straight face that if Kamala Harris was president, it would have been as chaotic as it is now. None of you can say that with a straight face. If you believe that the amount of chaos that we're experiencing in the States and around the world would have been the same under Kamala Harris, you're insane. Because there was literally no indication for that historically. Trump, we did. Did you forget about January the 6th? And by the way, full disclosure, that's when I was done with Trump. It was then. The moment January the 6th went down, I said to myself, I can never support you again. I can never support you. Because now you're trying to undermine the democracy. Every other day, he's flirting about the idea. I think the other day he put out a tweet, or I don't know what you call it, a truth social post or whatever. Should I run for a fourth term? This is a lawless man and a lawless administration. The corruption is unprecedented. He made a reportedly $1.5 billion in his first year in office. No one is saying anything. None of his supporters are saying anything. Except they want to talk about, what about this Democratic leader over there? What about the money from Venezuela? Do you know what he's doing with that money? Some of it he's siphoning it off to him to an offshore account that he manages. Are you guys aware of this? And you don't believe that this administration is corrupt? And let me tell you, I think beyond the fact that these guys want to get rid of illegal immigrants, I also think ICE is being used as a form of intimidation. I think they're trying to intimidate Americans. This is the reason they gave them essentially immunity. I think they're trying to get Americans used to the idea of every time they go outside, you see these ICE agents walking around with these firearms and these militia members, or however you want to describe them, and people should get used to it. It should become the norm. They're actually trying to condition Americans, but thank God, the people in Minneapolis are saying no, we refuse it. Those are the real patriots. Those are the real patriots. Now I want to take it a step further. Somebody says it is a distraction. I'll get to that momentarily. Let's talk about the NRA. This administration is so incompetent. They are so incompetent that they found a way to now even have the NRA calling them out and saying they must conduct an investigation. I want to read what the NRA said in case some people aren't aware of that. Where's the article here that I have from the NRA? Okay, so this is the BBC report. I'll post it in the comments in case you guys want to check it out. I was reading it not too long ago. Let me read what the NRA said. It says NRA and other U.S. gun activists push back at Trump's officials over Minneapolis shooting. It continues on. The National Rifle Association has joined the U.S. gun lobby groups in calling for a full investigation by the Trump administration into the killing of Alex Peretti in Minnesota. Comments from the NRA come after a border agent fatally shot Peretti, registered nurse at a Veterans Affairs hospital in Minneapolis on Saturday. State and federal officials have given strictly different accounts. The Trump administration has said Peretti carried a gun and posed a danger to officers, while no available video shows Peretti holding a gun, because he never was. The NRA labeled a suggestion by a federal prosecutor that people who carry guns risk being lawfully shot by officers as dangerous and wrong. Responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not making generalizations and demolishing law-abiding citizens, the NRA said in a statement. So now what you're going to see is Republicans who need the support of the NRA running around like chickens with their heads cut off, wondering, saying to themselves, Mr. President, what do we do? What do we do? Because your statements now is putting us in a bad position with the NRA. That's the reason why you saw Caroline Leavitt with her lying ass speaking to the press today, where she said, you know, the NRA, they're really important and we respect. Of course she's going to put out that statement. Of course she's going to put it out. This administration is rudderless. Rudderless. Their leader doesn't even know what he wants to do half the time. Sometimes he just wakes up and says, you know what? Let's put 100% tariff on Canada. You know what? 2 days later, let's take it off. What about this country? I don't like the fact that this president wears glasses, or he said this about me in Switzerland. Oh, let's put a tariff on them. He's so erratic. He said, imagine Obama doing all of this. If Obama had even tried 1/10 of what Trump is doing, he would have sent the country into an uproar. Now, I want to read what this guy said. He says, I think this is a distraction, which goes back to the Epstein files. As we sit here, and we have a show coming out tomorrow, make sure you guys stick around for that. As we sit here, Pam Bondi is in the process of being impeached. Pam Bondi, another incompetent cabinet member of the Trump administration. Pam Bondi, with her incompetent ass, said, you know, the Epstein files, they're on my desk. They're waiting to be reviewed. We all remember that. Then all of a sudden, the Epstein files disappeared into the ether. We don't know where the Epstein files are. Then the House and the Senate voted almost unanimously to get a bill signed, I believe the Transparency Act, which the president signed, to release the files. Who remembers how long they had to release all the files? Who remembers in the chat? Put a one in the chat if you remember how long they were given by Congress to release the file. Who remembers that? Put a one in the chat if you remember. Who remembers how long they were given by the government to release those files? 1 month, right? 1 month. We're going on 2 months, and the DOJ still hasn't released the files. These people are breaking their own laws. Do you understand how incompetent you have to be to pass a bill and then break the law that you just passed? They were given a month to release the Epstein files. The first batch, as all of you saw, well, almost all of it was redacted. Almost all of it. Then they said, miraculously, we found another, 1.5 or 2 million more documents. What does that have to do with the deadline you were given? And now you have Rokan and some of his colleagues saying, we're going to impeach you. We have a video coming out about this tomorrow, December 19th, right? They're over a month late. Because the Epstein files was something that just wasn't going away. Why? Because it was one of the only issues where Republicans and Democrats, Trump supporters, and those that oppose him were on one accord. Everyone wanted the Epstein files released, with obviously the exception of Megyn Kelly. Because Megyn Kelly tried to make excuses for pedophilia. 5 and 15, there's a big difference between 5 and 15. Who remembers that? Who remembers when Megyn Kelly tried to intellectualize pedophilia? 5 years old, that's one thing, but 15-year-old, that's two totally different. This is a woman that has daughters saying this. This is the woman that Stephen A. Smith said is a great person. That's who Stephen A. Smith said is me as a father that has a daughter. I'm going to say a person that is defending a pedophile is a great person? Stephen A. Smith is a father with daughters, and he's talking about Megyn Kelly as a great person. That should tell you everything you need to know about Stephen A. Smith himself. For the new people that are coming into the live, I want to give you guys the update here. So, where is it at? Where's the article that I was reading? Oh God, I have so many tabs open. Let me open up the tab again. So we have an Axios report here where it says Kristi Noem has to go. A Massachusetts governor says after Minneapolis shooting. It continues on. Massachusetts Governor Maura Haley on Monday called on the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to resign in the wake of Border Patrol agents' killing of a man in Minneapolis. It continues on. Haley joins a growing chorus of Democrats calling for Noem to be held accountable in the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy on Saturday. DHS said Preddy was armed and resisted agents' attempt to disarm him. Video doesn't appear to show Preddy, a lawful gun owner, reaching for his weapon. It then continues on. Noem later called Preddy's actions domestic terrorism. She blasted the federal government for its characterization of Preddy, an ICU nurse for the Minneapolis VA after his death. He is the second person shot dead this month by federal agents in Minneapolis. And then it goes on and on and on with other Democratic leaders following suit. So here's my prediction for all of this. I think we are in for a very long year. If last year was bad, I think this year is going to be worse. I think these guys are going to cause as much havoc as possible leading up into the midterms because they know it's going to be a wipeout. I think the Democrats are going to pick up a good amount of seats in the Senate. Right now, I think the Democrats and the Republicans have 53 seats. The Democrats, I believe, have 45, and then there are 2 independents, if I'm not mistaken. I have to check, but that's what I think. I think the Democrats are going to pick up enough seats. We just got the report, by the way, for those of you who aren't aware, of wait, let me pull it. Let me show it to you guys here. So we just got this report. Let me show it to you, where a Republican drops out of Minnesota governor race, citing GOP's retribution. It continues on. I cannot support the National Republicans' state of retribution on citizens of our state, nor can I count myself as a member of a party that would do so. Chris Maddow, a Minneapolis attorney who was running as a Republican for Minnesota governor. It's falling apart. Trump's approval rating is in the dumpster. He thinks all of these ICE, the chaos surrounding ICE is going to cause people to forget about the Epstein files. It won't. And if Pam Bondi and the DOJ don't release the Epstein files, she needs to be impeached because they are breaking the law. Kristi Noem seems to not know what the hell she's doing. Kash Patel seems confused half the time. These guys almost seem like they don't even understand the laws. Where is it written that you can't attend a protest with a firearm when it's within, I think, is the Second Amendment? So how can you be breaking the law when literally that's what the Second Amendment allows you to do? These people are just making it up as it goes. No. I was talking about the Senate, not the House. The Senate. I believe there were 53 Republicans in the Senate, 45 Democrats in the Senate, and 2 independents. I was talking about the Senate, not the House. I was talking about the Senate. Okay, I'll read through a few more comments, and then I think I'll call it a night. We have minorities, specifically Latinos, whose parents came to the U.S. illegally, but they were lucky to be born here working for ICE. Some naturalized, asking U.S.-born citizens to show their paper. Well, according to what Trump said, I don't know if it's true. I haven't researched this myself. He said a good amount of people a good amount of these people that are ICE workers are apparently Hispanic. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah, it's 53. I believe it's 53 Republicans. Yes, it's 53 Republicans in the Senate, and I know for sure it's 53, and I think it's 45 Democrats. So that would make it and those 2 independents, but they caucus with the Democrats. But I think the Democrats are going to pick up some good seats in the midterms. Kyle Rittenhouse went to a maybe I can read. Kyle Rittenhouse went to a protect with a firearm. And okay, maybe you're finishing your point there. Anyway, guys, okay, let me read this one. He says, "You're judging MAGA from an emotional angle, Charles. You're not thinking practically." Now, this is what I was looking for. First of all, there's no one in politics or that's involved in politics or that follows politics that doesn't view things through an emotional lens, because politics is very, very polarized. So we're all emotional about these things, right? There are people, as I said, that would like my basketball content, but if once they discovered my political views, they will unsubscribe. That shows a lot of emotion. Number one, you said you're not thinking practical. What's the thing that I'm not thinking about practically? Give me an example of what I'm not thinking about practically. I'd like to engage with you for a little bit. This is from KZ1 1994. What am I not thinking about practically? Is it the deportations? Is it what exactly? Is it the tariffs? Is it the Epstein files? What am I not thinking about practically? Kyle Rittenhouse went to a protest with a firearm, and the current FBI leader raised money to. Yes, yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. I would like to hear what this gentleman or lady has to say about what he's saying about me not thinking practically. He said you can't believe anything Trump says. No, well, hopefully he'll respond before I go off here. Okay, he left another comment. He said you're completely wrong. Now I want to engage with people that have opposing views. You're completely wrong. You're just completely wrong on this. ICE has a job to do, and being heckled by agitators, so they respond. First of all, I don't see what's humorous about this. You're not understanding that ICE has a job to do, and they're being heckled by. Of course, Of course, ICE has a job to do that they were given, that the president told them to do, right? So we all know that, right? We get that. No one is saying that they don't have a job to do. The issue that people have are their tactics. No one is saying they don't have a job to do. The issue are their tactics. Number one. Number two, it also seems like they're not fully trained for this job. It seems like they don't have the proper training because they always seem to be panicking. And whenever they panic, an American ends up losing their lives. So yes, they have a job to do, but no one with a straight face could say that they're doing their job efficiently. For those of you who remember, they used to call Obama deporter in chief. Did they not? I think Obama deported over 2 million illegal immigrants. When Obama was deporting all of those illegal immigrants, did you see any riots in the street? Did you see any masked men with firearms walking through the streets of New York City and all of these other states? Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. Because they did it with some damn common sense. That it didn't become a global spectacle, which is what this has become. So of course they have a job to do. The problem is they're not doing it very well. They're not doing it very well. They're trying to intimidate people. They're lying about their shortcomings. Why is Kristi Noem talking about this guy went there to go cause maximum harm when all he was doing was recording the event? And even after they apprehended him and threw him to the ground and removed his gun, you cannot explain you have no answer as to why they took his life. There is no answer you can provide to this. You have to understand the situation at hand. Millions of illegals were flooded here during the pandemic. Okay. In order to get them out and restore balance, ICE has to get a little extreme. I disagree. And first of all, ICE was initially, they initially said that they were going to be going after the hardened criminals. That's what they said. Is that what they're doing? Is that what they're doing? Are they going after the criminals? For goodness sakes, they're killing Americans. You can't be here trying to make a defense for ICE. You can't be. No one watching this live will say to you right now that they don't want illegal immigrants who are violent and criminals deported. We all want them deported if you're a criminal and have done all of these different things. But if you've been in the States working for years, you're not breaking any laws, my friend, you have to use your proper judgment. You have to. But they're just painting with a broad brush. And you can't tell me that the tactics that they're using makes you feel safe when now Americans are losing their lives. You have a right. You can protest. You can record them. Why are they smacking people's phones out of their hands? You are allowed to record them. ICE does what Israel does to the Palestinians. Trump deported a Purple Star soldier. I'm not surprised by any of this. But what I will say is that all of this is I think the people that keep saying people are for Trump, I think it's a loud minority. I think in the beginning, Trump had a lot of supporters, but as time has gone on, as the Epstein files have come out and all that, I think he's lost some supporters. Even some of his most vocal supporters and public ones like Joe Rogan and all of them, they're all jumping ship. All of our allies are running for the hills. All of our NATO allies are looking at America saying, man, these guys are not this is not the America we used to know. They're saying that America is unpredictable. Do you know what it means when a foreign nation says they find your country to be unpredictable? It means that it's very hard for them to trust having relations with you going into the future because they don't know what you may wake up one morning and decide to levy 100% tariff at them for no bloody reason, or maybe I didn't like the speech that you gave at Davos. He's saying if they killed his mother, it would be okay with him so long as they get immigrants out. The gentleman brings up a good point. Are you willing to retort? So ICE kills an American mother of 3 and a teacher. WTG ICE. Violation against your political opposition rights is He said that's good. That's good that we're unpredictable. The status quo system wasn't. Man, don't do this to me, man. I don't have the energy for this. Is good that we're unpredictable? Why is it good? What's the benefit to us, please? What's the benefit to everyday Americans when the president is just throwing tariffs at various countries that we have to pay? How is this better for Americans? How? 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 You're talking about the status quo. Trump is maintaining the status quo. Wasn't he there to drain the swamp? Wasn't he there to release the Epstein files and all that? Has he released them? Is he not protecting the deep state? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Guys, I'm tired. I just wanted to talk a little bit about this. Once again, I appreciate all of you guys coming into this live. Thank you guys for tuning in. We have a video dropping tomorrow about Pam Bondi, so make sure you guys stick around for that one. That'll be dropping sometime in the evening, depending on your time. And we may drop another video. Other than that, appreciate you guys for being a part of this live, and we'll definitely catch you guys on the next time we go live. Appreciate you guys for being here. Peace.